So with that, as you can imagine, a whole ecosystem of opportunities actually opens up, right? That does not only end with creating just another exchange. I think you have 16 exchanges, if I'm not mistaken, in Japan already. So we are not coming here to just open another marketplace. We have a bit of a broader agenda. Maybe you go to the next slide. That's right. Okay. So these are some of the numbers that Lykke achieved over the last few months. It's a very young company. Actually, if you don't mind, I want to share one little interesting detail. So Lykke needed seed funding, right? And the first thing that the founding team decided was to list their own token on their own platform. And that token is very equity-like. I know that in the blockchain community that seems very evil, but there's nothing wrong with having equity digitized. So with the tokenization of the Lykke shares, the team managed to raise some money to expand the business. And these are some of the numbers. But as you know, in blockchain world, all of these numbers are basically old the minute you write them down, right? So don't want to spend too much. This is another interesting graph that basically shows the growth of users over a relatively short period of time. This is 2016. And that's why another very important thing with the build out of Lykke is that we try to automate everything. Because if we grow our staff base at the same rate that the expansion works, we're going to have lots and lots of people. The idea is not to have that. Okay, next slide. This is the roadmap. I'm going to move over here for a second. So as you can see, quite a wide variety of different business cases and use cases. We want to work with retail population, we want to work with corporates, we want to work with small startups, so it's not just focus on one particular group. Okay, this is kind of the map, how we see it. So obviously companies started in Switzerland, but then quickly expanded to London, and subsequently open office in Singapore, open office in the US and Mexico. And the idea, and this is perhaps also quite a bit different with Lykke and to many other crypto projects, is that Richard believes that regulation is part of doing business. So we're not saying we're going to try and work around regulation. So as you can see on this chart, we're basically applying for licenses for fund management, running of marketplaces, or exchanges and multilateral trading facilities, as well as broker licenses around the world. I'm sure we're going to add a few more shortly. Okay, can you move on? Yeah. So now I want to talk a little bit about different products, and we're going to do that together, I guess. So the first one is the wallet. Anyone downloaded the Lykke wallet already? Yay, one. Two. Okay, very good. Okay, good. It's very easy to find, Lykke, and there you go. So we're building the wallet, and it grows in functionality. By no means are we ready. And people sometimes forget when they start using the wallet that we're still a startup. And sometimes things go wrong, but we still believe that there's a humongous opportunity ahead of us. So these are some details of the actual exchange. And it's kind of interesting, right? A traditional exchange has many different trading participants, but in our Lykke model, basically everyone gets onboarded onto the wallet, and then the exchange is a mere service that provides matching facility. Our exchange is, can you go back one second? Our exchange is not the one with the most coins yet, so we're working on that. The whole, I think there are 22 coins that we're trying to integrate shortly, but it's work in progress. Another thing that's perhaps very important to note is that there's an objective to tokenize any type of asset that then becomes tradable on the Lykke exchange. And if you think about that for a moment, one of the interesting use cases, right, is we could tokenize private equity, right? So imagine you bought Uber shares, and for a while you're really happy, right, because you're a shareholder in Uber. And then suddenly you're not so happy anymore. But then in markets, there are always different views, right? Some people like something, some people don't like it. So if you could create a token that represents your share in Uber, and you can list it on an exchange, you can transfer ownership. That's something that previously was not possible, and is actually quite powerful. Okay, if we move on to the next slide, maybe I'm gonna ask Igor to talk a little bit about margin trading. Yeah?
Just can I come on first? Oh, you would like to add? Yeah, sorry. So the idea is that all the current exchanges, they provide just swap exchange, atomic swaps. But we decided to introduce some kind of like margin trading, and that's why first we started working on Lightning Network. So it's some specific protocols. So now you know if you would like to buy or sell, for example, Bitcoin, you need to transfer this Bitcoin to another party that willing to buy it. Or you can do it another way, and you need to pay transaction fees, or you can do it another way. You can use Lightning Network protocol. That means that you need to put something into the channel, and this channel will be open with Lykke. And Lykke, on the other side, open channel with another party. And then all the trades will go through this channel, and you can settle, actually, you can record this on blockchain only when you want to transfer those Bitcoins, for example, to a private wallet or to other exchanges. And having this in place, it would be possible, it started to be possible to implement margin trading when you can actually use leverage, and we don't need to request a signature on each transactions. So this is about margin trading.
Thanks, Igor. Let's move on to the next slide. Oops, sorry. Okay, so then the other thing that we're quite excited about is Lykke Pay. We're going to launch a card. I think a card is actually quite a powerful tool if you think about it, right? Because everyone's investing in crypto and it's all very interesting, but then a card is basically where the rubber hits the road, right? You can spend your balance. And you can spend the balance without merchants adopting any cryptocurrency. I think that's quite something. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Oh yeah, the payments. Do you want to talk about that? Oh, you want to talk? Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit elaborate for the card. Just then just said is kind of a bridge between the crypto, which you own with your Lykke wallet, and in one day you just like to buy coffee in Starbucks or whatever, and you need to kind of a medium to transfer the value which you store in your Lykke wallet to the traditional kind of source to spend it. And there's a debit card or Lykke card where you can transfer some value from your Lykke wallet regardless of assets which you own, and to have it and to spend it in any shop you'd like. There are some obstacles, and you're probably aware if you're kind of following this subject that the regulators are kind of started to look more strictly regarding all these topics, but for sure we'll figure out and provide the viable products pretty soon. We're aiming to launch the Lykke card in Q2 this year, and so it will be, I guess, kind of massive if you when you have like a medium to spend your crypto in a real world. And a couple of words about the cards. We're always trying to build a bridge between the current financial world and the future. And now it's not possible, for example, to pay with your mobile phone, with crypto or any other currency or digital token. So the cards is the first step. The next step will be payments directly with our Lykke wallet. And then we found partners that manufacture for us those ETMs. So actually, you can buy crypto with fiat currency with this machine, and you can pay in the shops or other places with this POS terminal. Those hardware already exist, and now we are like trying this with some of our partners. The idea to make it something familiar to the people so they will know how to use it, and just again to build another bridge. So we hope that in the future we don't need all of this stuff, and it will be possible to pay any place with any asset you have in Lykke wallet or any other wallet you use.
Thanks. And another interesting thing is a result of Rich's experience as the co-founder of Oanda, one of the biggest FX trading platforms, is that he's quite knowledgeable around the whole topic of algo trading. And therefore, he has developed a market-making system that we have launched already on the platform today that provides liquidity. And if you're interested in this kind of stuff, there's a very interesting paper that Richard wrote together with people from the University in Zurich. It's a counter-trend kind of model that provides liquidity. Okay. In the blockchain world, there's a lot of talk about building an ecosystem, right? You can't just be by yourself. So there's a couple of things that Lykke is trying to do in terms of developing new products together with other people. So perhaps we can look at a few things that are happening in that space. So obviously, we're going to enable other people to conduct their ICO. So one of the kind of new business lines that we're developing at the moment is a platform so that other people can launch their coin. And we're trying to be as automated as possible. We're trying to be compliant with all of the necessary KYC, source of funds challenges that we can see in that space. And we will turn down people as well if they try to do funny business. Okay, next slide. Oh yeah, that's your favorite.
Okay, so again, my turn. So I'm talking because I cover some of our B2B projects, so this is why I can explain just more about all things. This is one of our partners, and when they came up to us, they said that we see a big problem in the market because we cannot provide easy access to the gold market like for individuals in terms of the secondary market. So now, if you want to buy some gold, you need to go to the company or you need to call to them and ask that you would like to buy particularly this amount of gold bars or silver or any other metals. But then, if you decided to sell it back, again, you can do it only to this company. And if you try, for example, to deliver this metal from one storage to another storage, it's a really long story because of all the securities, transfer, and other things. But having the information about ownership of the particular gold bars, you don't need to do so because of the gold already stored in some place. You invested in the gold and you see that, for example, the condition is not so good for keeping them on, and you can sell what you have using the application and web application immediately on the secondary market. And the most hard part here, you need to store the serial numbers of this gold on blockchain, and we already provided this infrastructure for partners. I think the next slide, also for me, it's about clearing settlement. We had some proof of concept project with one of the biggest clearing house, processing payments coming from different airlines companies. So actually 2 railroad companies participated in this. And the idea was to minimize time of settlement and decrease clearing cycle. Usually they use 2 weeks or 1 month, and it's a lot of time, and they need to improve their cash flow. And we introduced some kind of corporate coins that also based on blockchain. So as the company, we're able to pay all the invoices coming to each other, from one party to another party in 1 day. And then we did some simulation with them, improved that they can save billions just only on those transactions fees. And this is only inside, for example, country, but when we talk about abroad transactions, the benefit can be really huge.
just to, can you go back to the previous one? I think in Japan there is one company that has already issued their own coin, right? MUFG coin. Have you heard about that? So they have their own coin. I'm told that when you are an MUFG employee and you go to the canteen, you can actually pay with your MUFG coin, which is, you know, a very, very small step, but, you know, it's a start. So from a coins perspective, right, we're actually very keen to experiment and see how we can work with corporations. A lot of global corporations have many subsidiaries all around the globe. There's some treasury function somewhere, probably in the headquarters, perhaps in Japan. And then, you know, how can you basically manage liquidity more efficiently if you use an internal coin, rather than sending payments all around the world and paying other providers that will charge you a lot of money. Okay, next slide. Yeah, so right now we have the Lykke wallet, and it's a mobile-only solution. So we're gonna expand that and obviously have a bit of a desktop version as well that can help not only trade crypto but all sorts of other currencies and derivatives.
The idea that we have mobile application is simplified. It's for individuals who don't have some experience in trading and they just would like to invest in crypto, for example, in other assets. But if you would like to attract some professional traders or professional investors or companies, we need to have something more powerful. So thus we decided to create this web-based trading terminal, and of course we will improve it. And maybe we still haven't discussed it, but it's in our mind. Maybe we will have like a desktop application for true professionals.
Thank you. All right, and with that, I think the idea was keep the presentation short and the rest of the meetup rather informal. So ideally, we just have a conversation.